Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Going to give everyone just a second to roll in a little bit. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and get us started off. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us for the 12th Annual Seek Forum's 8th webinar, Preparing Workers to Build Back Cleaner, featuring 3C-REN, MC Energy, and SoCalREN. I, of course, want to take a second to thank our sponsors, some of which we have the privilege of hearing from today. Thank you so much to 3C-REN, BayREN, and SoCalREN. I also want to thank our additional sponsors, Terra Verde Energy, the Energy Coalition, and TRC companies for supporting our planning efforts throughout this forum. And I, of course, want to take a moment, throw a huge thank you to our awesome promotional partners who have helped tremendously with outreach for this forum. Their efforts really are instrumental in ensuring that Seek resources are shared with a diverse audience so that more local governments can learn and hear from one another. Just to go over some super quick housekeeping, please do be sure to keep yourself muted and ask any questions through our chat box. Additionally, we do encourage you to use the chat box to interact with other participants, introduce yourself, or reach out to Seek staff. That would be myself, John Vandervoort, Gabby Mhor, or Serena Soar if you run into any tech issues. All right, and with that, I will pass it on to our moderator for this webinar, Jordan Garbayo, who is a program manager at 3C-REN. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jordan.
Thanks for inviting me, John. Really excited to be here, and good afternoon. And thank you to everybody joining us for a discussion surrounding preparing workers for building back better, or building back cleaner, I should say. As John noted, my name is Jordan Garbayo, and I am a program manager for the County of San Luis Obispo and the TriCounty Regional Energy Network, or 3C-REN. Our goal today is to highlight some of the great work program administrators and implementers are doing across the state as it relates to sustainable recovery efforts aimed at building back better via workforce education and training. We have a wonderful panel today that includes Ian Logan, who is also from 3C-REN, Wendy Angel from Emerald Cities, and SoCalREN, and Jennifer Green from Marin Clean Energy, who are going to share what they are working on in this exciting and challenging field. Again, thank you for joining us today. Next slide. We'll start with 3C-REN, since that's where I'm from, and I'm going to provide a little bit more information about that. So both Ian and I work for 3C-REN, or the Tri-County Regional Energy Network, and we have two programs that support workforce education and training. But before I dive into those, I just wanted to share a little bit about 3C-REN. Next slide. 3C-REN, or the Tri-County Regional Energy Network, is a collaborative partnership between San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties, which was developed to improve energy efficiency programs in our region by offering customized programs. 3C-REN offers free services for building professionals and households. For building professionals, 3C-REN offers industry training events, technical and soft skills trainings, and energy code compliance support. And for households, we offer free and discounted home upgrades to reduce energy use at home, and soon to be multifamily as well as single family. Next slide, please. 3C-REN is funded by ratepayer dollars that we all pay into our utility bills. Our programs and services return these ratepayer dollars to our local region and are an investment into our community, which has historically missed out on some of these ratepayer funds. We aim to take a holistic approach to improving energy efficiency in our region by engaging public sector staff from our local building departments, like our building inspectors, as well as our private sector businesses like our architects and contractors. We also work with the broader community members on how energy and buildings intersect our everyday lives. These comprehensive services help us reduce energy use in our community and build capacity within the building industry. Next slide, please. 3C Ren currently has 3 programs. As I mentioned, a residential direct install program called Home Energy Savings, a workforce education and training program called Building Performance Training, and a codes and standards program called Energy Code Connect. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Ian Logan to share a little bit about 3C Ren's Building Performance Training program, and then you'll hear back from me about our Energy Code Connect program. Ian,
Awesome.
Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. My name's Ian Logan. I am a program administrator for 3C Ren's Building Performance Training Program, also known as BPT. We serve current and prospective building professionals with training for architects, engineers, contractors, and real estate professionals. Our focus is expanding to better serve underserved and hard to reach workers. We are a regional resource that offers instruction in technical skills related to building science principles and systems for high performance buildings, as well as soft skills such as sales, marketing, and communication techniques in order to grow your business or advance your career. Through BPT as well as ECC, we offer professional education credits, and we have also offered certifications like the NAR Green Designation for realtors and the Passive House Design Consultant certification. As the building industry evolves to provide solutions for climate change, resiliency, affordability, kind of all these issues that we see in our daily lives, BPT helps workers adapt and stay current with changes and industry best practices, all while helping businesses provide added value to their customers. For most people, this may be the first time that they are attending energy efficiency programs hosted by a local program administrator. So we really like to pride ourselves on being that regional, local, and somewhat tailored resource. Next slide, please. So over the last 6 months, we've kind of been doing a bit of evaluation. We've been hosting listening sessions and kind of taking into account other stakeholder feedback that we've received. And we're now kind of assessing for gaps that we have not yet filled. So our team has identified these 4 initiatives as next steps to address some of the shortcomings in our region. We will be focusing on creating or strengthening a clearer and more accessible career pathway for young folks and others seeking a career transition that are interested in the trades and the clean green workforce. We are working to develop an introductory training series that helps empower people with the fundamental skills and knowledge of high performance buildings and building science in a ready-made pathway leading to a certificate of completion. And kind of understanding the current limitation of our English and web-based trainings, we are taking actions to improve accessibility to our resources, primarily around language access for people whose primary language may not be English, and training time and location to help accommodate people working in the field. I think a large overarching goal for us as 3C Ren as a whole is having instruction that is a healthy balance between classroom and in the field training. So finding people and partners with project sites available to us is becoming a larger focus area for us, and developing more visual content to represent in-field application so that we can then reinforce those lessons on site or at an energy center style facility. This is definitely a shared goal between Building Performance Training and Energy Code Connect that'll help accommodate aspiring and existing tradespeople. And Jordan will walk you through Energy Code Connect.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you for the presentation. And I'll just quickly run through what the Energy Code Connected program is all about. So Energy Code Connect, or ECC, serves all building professionals similar to the BPT program, both public and private sectors, offering services for everyone from plans examiners to inspectors to architects and contractors. We also partner with many professional membership organizations in the delivery and promotion of Energy Code Connect. For example, USGBC, ICC, AIA, KBEC, CalCerts, you name it. ECC offers 3 distinct services. One is the Energy Code Coach, which is a free over the phone, online, or over the counter and in the field service to help building professionals navigate the complex and ever-changing energy code and California green building standards. This service provides mentoring and support for building professionals from local experts. We also provide training. Each month, a variety of free interactive online courses are offered, ranging in very niche subjects like heat pump water heaters and the energy code, which is coming up in the next couple weeks, or high-level overviews of what the heck the energy code is to get people engaged in understanding how we're implementing that. We'll be returning to offering hands-on in-person courses once it's safe to do so, hopefully one day. But our courses are taught by expert instructors and address California's energy code and green building standards. Courses increase overall energy comprehension, compliance, and enforcement. And then lastly, one of the other services we offer is our regional forums. These provide an opportunity to explore aspects of California's energy code and many other topics that are relevant to critical policy issues facing our region, from emerging trends and energy code updates to challenges and opportunities and its application. Forums bring together all building professionals and other audiences to create a local networking opportunity for professionals within our region, and they tend to be held 3 to 4 times a year. Next slide, please. In the future, ECC is looking to expand current offerings to be more tangible for building professionals and beyond. We look to continue establishing and maintaining partnerships with existing organizations like Energy Code ACE, the California Association of Building Energy Consultants, or CABEC, CalCerts, and many other local chapters of representation there as well. In addition, we will be integrating design and construction meetings at the beginning of construction for projects that will aim to bridge the gap between what is on the page of compliance documentation to what is built in the field. ECC also looks to expand the Energy Code Coach service to be available in person to building departments to assist in plans examination and inspection as needed on a more consistent basis. We also will be offering reach code support services for jurisdictions in our territory seeking to design and implement reach codes. And lastly, and something that's not listed here, we are seeking to have more hands-on training in the field for complicated topics like quality installation or QII, or heat pump water heater installation. Next slide. So thanks. You'll hear from me more as the event goes on, but you can find all of our information at 3cren.org. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to our next panelist, Wendy Angel from Emerald Cities and SoCal Ren, to provide an overview of the Green Path careers and ACEs. Wendy?
Thank you, Jordan. Hello, everyone. I'm Wendy. I am the program director for Emerald Cities. We are the program implementer for SoCal Ren's Workforce Education and Training Program. Next slide, please. So I think Jordan gave a little overview of how our RENs work. Oh, there's a little bit of feedback. If everyone can go ahead and mute themselves, thank you. So like I said, Jordan gave a little bit overview about how our RENs work. These are programs that are ratepayer funded. For our SoCal Ren programs, we have 4 sectors, one focused on public agencies, one on residential. We also have a financing portion. And then the one that I'll be discussing today would be our workforce education and training sector. Next slide. So this is our program structure under our wet sector. We have a variety of programs that have identified the needs across the communities that we work in. One specifically targeted for contractors, and this is focused on small, diverse minority contractors. We've developed pathways for these contractors, and we also provide one-on-one coaching for them. The 2 youth programs that I'll be focusing on today is our ACES Pathway Program, which is our Architecture, Construction, Engineering Students Program. This is for in-school youth And we have a partnership with the community colleges, and we also have a paid internship program. And our other youth program, which is quite new, we just launched it last year during COVID, is our Green Path Career Program. And this focuses on out-of-school youth, specifically at-risk youth. They go through certification training, and they also have a paid work experience component. Next slide. So the Green Path Careers Program. Next slide, please. So the main objective of this program is we saw a need in our at-risk youth, specifically former foster youth or those that are classified as homeless, where they're not pursuing higher education, but we wanted to provide the training that would provide a living and sustainable wage for them, and a career pathway. So we developed this program during COVID with a few of our partners, providing some of the supportive services for the youth. But we really saw a need with the youth as well as within the energy efficiency sector, because it's one of the fastest growing sectors that needs skilled workers. Next slide. So essentially for our program model in Green Path Careers program, they enroll in the program, they receive personal enrichment training, and what this consists of is financial literacy. This might be the first paycheck that our participants are receiving. They don't know how to manage their money. They might not even have a bank account. So we have a partnership with the Workforce Development Department within LA County to provide this training for them. This also gives them business etiquette training, how to write an email, how to compose your resume, how to write a cover letter. And these are some of the skills that we saw that our participants needed in order to be successful in the program. They go through our energy efficiency certification training. This is an industry recognized training. They go through a hands-on training portion. We make sure that we provide the additional resources that they might need in order for them to be successful in the certification training. We have a paid work experience portion of this, and this kind of serves as an internship program for our students where they get that hands-on experience with some of our employer partnerships. And then the ultimate goal is for them to be placed for full-time employment within an energy efficiency career. Next slide. So this is the training and the certifications that we have currently offered for our Green Path career participants. It's an energy auditor pathway. We provide a 3-in-1 certification combo. So they're able to achieve 3 certifications within our training program, building analysts, infiltration and duct leakage, and envelope professional. And they're actually able to apply this to both private residential as well as commercial and HVAC. And then one of the things that our participants always ask me is, what am I going to be getting out of this in terms of a career? So we've outlined a lot of entry-level positions that are available once they do receive those certifications, and then entry-level salaries once they do go into those careers. Next slide. We've made things quite easy for our Green Path participants because it was developed during COVID. Everything is done online, including the training. We have a hybrid model with our training partner. They're able to complete all the training online. We do have an in-person hands-on training component where they get to familiarize themselves with the tools that they'll be using on the job. And they receive additional tutoring in order for them to be successful during that examination process for the certification. But everything in terms of enrolling for the program or submitting an interest form or even resources that they might need, because of the population that we're working with, a lot of them might not have reliable transportation, they have reliable energy. So put in place partners, those resources, no cost to our participants. And it can be found on our SoCal Run website, including our collateral material, an application. Again, everything is online and we made it really easy for them. Next slide. So our ACES Pathway Program, next slide, please. So this is our in-school program, and technically it's for our high school students. So they 9th through 12th grade, but we actually begin targeting them in middle school. And this is a partnership with the Community College District here in Los Angeles. We have set up specific pathways for our students to be enrolled through their dual enrollment program. And then again, this comes at no cost to the students. The community college courses are completely free to them. But we realized that there was a gap in the industry where we were not seeing people of color and people from the actual local community in the industry. So we developed this program in order to address those gaps. And we knew that high school is actually sometimes a little late for exposure because a lot of our students are going into not a STEM pathway, but they're either pursuing social work or something like that, or they think because a lot of our training is focused on construction, that they'll actually be doing the hands-on construction, but they didn't realize the full scope of what construction actually consisted of, which is design and build as well. So we wanted to make sure that we expose our students to the STEM courses that we have established with the Community College District. Next slide. So again, through our ACES program, the students enroll within our program, but we also enroll them with the community college. And this is different for every school depending on where they reside. It could be a different community college, but we have specific certifications that we have established with the community college. And these certifications are attained through a course sequence. They're actually industry recognized. And because we develop these certifications in partnership with the community college, we bring the industry side of it, where the industry lets us know where the gaps are. And that's how we develop these programs and the curriculum with the community college. And they're actually available to anyone that attends the community college. But specifically, it's something that we had to address within the industry. We also provide training for our students, depending on what pathway they would like to pursue. We have the MC3 curriculum, which is the multi-core craft curriculum with the building trades. We have first aid and CPR because we are placing them for internship programs. We want to make sure that they are prepared in case of an emergency. And then we also provide OSHA 10 training for those students that will be on the job site. Also, again, to make sure that they are prepared. And then we also have our internship program as part of that. So every summer, our high school students, as well as our college students, get to participate in the internship program with both public and private employers. Next slide. So one thing that I wanted to focus on for this program is during COVID, we were not able to place any students in person, but we were able to develop a new certification training with our partner SolidWorks. SolidWorks is an international software that is 3D CAD. It can be used in a variety of industries, but specifically for within engineering and architecture. We were able to provide this training for our students to receive the Certified SolidWorks Associate certification. And those that pass the associate certification move on to the professional certified certification. This is something that we launched in partnership with SolidWorks and Go Engineer that has not been offered to any high school student before. So our ACES students are actually the first ones to be able to take these trainings. Usually these trainings are offered for professionals that are already in the industry. Not for high school students, but because our high school students have the background and the knowledge through the courses that we already offer, this is the next. And this is something that we also develop online for our students. And this is also in partnership with the Workforce Development Department of LA County to also supportive services, access to technology or anything like that. Next slide. So again, if you have any questions, please submit them through the chat. We'll be answering them throughout the presentation. Jordan, thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you, Wendy. Really excited to see the great work SoCal REN is bringing to their territory. Now I'd like to introduce our last panelist, Jennifer Green from Marin Clean Energy, to share their workforce programs. Jennifer.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? I had a mute problem.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay, great. Thank you to each of you who are participating today in the webinar, in the audience, as well as the speakers on such an important topic near and dear to our hearts at MCE. And I wanted to take a quick moment to also thank the California Climate and Energy Collaborative for hosting such an expansive agenda and for emphasizing workforce development as part of it. My name's Jennifer, and I'm going to highlight the efforts that MCE has made in furthering the electrification and GHG reduction efforts, both regionally and beyond that. Next slide. A bit about MCE. We're the first community choice aggregator, or CCA, in California, and we serve Marin, Solano, Napa counties, and the majority of Contra Costa communities and cities. So what that means, as a CCA, MCE is responsible for providing clean electricity to our communities, as well as offering customers a choice for where they get their electricity. CCAs are established as local, not-for-profit government agencies, and we're structured as a joint powers authority. Our board is made up of elected officials who represent the diverse region that we serve. So regional input, feedback, and accountability is built right into our DNA at MCE. Our model offers increased benefits like local decision-making authority, ability to provide tailored community energy programs to our customers, and local reinvestment opportunities, because the revenues from our customers can be returned to the community instead of used to pay shareholders. We use our revenues to reinvest back into our communities through educational and incentive-based programs that are currently focused on electrification, EE or energy efficiency, load shifting, and distributed energy resources. And happy to look at the list of the participants on this webinar to see some of our partners are on this webinar. So hello to all of you. We also leverage ratepayer dollars awarded by the California Public Utilities Commission to administer energy efficiency programs with local implementers. The programs are the direct result of community-based organizations, local nonprofit implementer, and local government input, as well as buy-in. Next slide, please. As a community-based JPA, we're dedicated to providing wages that allow our communities to thrive and not just survive. And I did steal that from a presentation I heard yesterday. We at MCE have a strong commitment to providing diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, as everyone has heard of, in all internal and external services, programs, and offerings. It's embedded in everything that we do. And we actually, as demonstrated here, we have developed a policy that ensures that diversity, equity, and inclusion are part of everything that we do. We require that local projects include prevailing wages and 50% local hire. Our supplier diversity efforts support engagement with minority, women, disabled, veteran, and LGBTQ businesses. And we have purchasing and contracting agreements with businesses local to our service area. And the photo here is of 2 workers who were hired to construct MCE's Solar One project. Maybe you've heard of it. It's in Richmond, California in the East Bay. MCE Solar One's 10.5 megawatt solar system is currently producing 22,000 megawatt hours per year of pollution-free electricity. That's enough to power 3,900 homes annually. And this project was conceived by the city of Richmond and designed by MCE partners, including Richmond Builds, which is a local CBO and educator, to train and hire skilled graduates for this project. Next slide. As well as our procurement initiatives, we at MCE have a workforce education and training program that provides industry training for working professionals and opportunities for those skilled active contractors to be matched with job seekers. As with all of our work, this program began by seeking expert opinions and feedback from lots of groups on our program design. It was done through roundtables that are highlighted here, where we engaged contractors. We had one with job seekers, one with CBOs, and one with municipalities. We found that contractors in the electrification and EE spaces are looking for more than any other skill, a readiness to work and be part of a productive team in a sustainable industry, and not just sustainable energy, but also a long-term growing industry. So we work with educational and workforce development partners to seek out, to vet and prepare job seekers with wraparound services, and they are matched with local contractors. And we offer paid on-the-job training so that those folks who are getting into a new career, as well as their potential employers, can do a sort of try before you buy. With this program, we also offer field meetings with working contractors. It's listed here as ride-alongs, but they're really field meetings since COVID. We do them online and hopefully soon to resume in person. Contractors, what we do there is we work with contractors to meet them where they are on a job, literally, to provide tips and tricks and leave behinds about electrification and home performance. And it's an in-depth up to 8-hour one-on-one training opportunity for these contractors. And those who qualify for our matching program are able to receive assistance with finding the best candidates to join their teams. And this is all at no cost to the job seekers or the contractors. Our team is always looking for contractors in the HVAC, plumbing, lighting, insulation, and other specialties, as well as GCs who want to get hands-on training in electrification, and they want to be matched with viable and job-ready job seekers. So please, this is my only plug, get in touch with us if you're interested, if you're an interested contractor or a job seeker. Next slide. We're also reinvesting revenues to provide training and education on energy storage applications. MCE partnered with Rising Sun Center for Opportunity to braid technical training that they're offering, the MC3 technology that, or MC3 curriculum that Wendy spoke about, on home performance. We braided that with technical training on home performance, electrification, and energy storage. And graduates of Rising Sun's program will then have the opportunity to work with MCE's trade allies on this program. They're encouraged, the trade allies are encouraged to hire these candidates, these graduates. And we're also working with our partners at Grid Alternatives and Marin Community Foundation to further our education reach in our territory. Each of our incentive programs are designed with the nuances of I say it again, ever-changing regulatory and legislative landscape in mind. These programs not only incentivize positive change, but build sustainable workforce opportunities in MCE's 4-county footprint and beyond that. Next slide. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Jordan and take any questions during our Q&A session. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Really, really awesome and important work that your team is working on. Really great to see. So as Jennifer noted, we'd like to move into our panel discussion, and I certainly have some questions, but we would like to open questions to the audience first. So please provide them in the chat, or you can, or I think given the size of the audience, we can certainly unmute you if you wanted to raise your hand and or let us know. But I'll pause here to see if there's any questions from the audience.
I'm hoping to get some questions from MCE's territory, or else I'm going to come and talk with you individually. So ask some questions.
All right. Well, I certainly do have a couple of questions. Oh, we have one that just came in from the chat. Let's see here. So Aleka Seville is asking, can you please speak to the amount of program update and interest you have had in the SoCal REN programs or program uptake? Wendy, I think that one's dedicated to you.
Yeah, we've actually had quite a bit of interest a lot in our ACES program, just because that one is more territory specific and very unique to the high school as well as the community college. And it's also very, a lot of the community colleges see it as a great resource for them as well, because a lot of them are not involved in industry. They develop the curriculum, but don't really keep in mind the changing industry right now, especially with green technology. Green Path Careers program, we've had, quite a bit of interest in that program as well. But a lot of the barriers right now because of COVID is how do we reach our foster youth as well as our homeless youth, specifically because they don't have reliable technology. That one's been a little bit of a challenge, but one of the things that we had to kind of pivot was reaching out to the organizations that are actually working with our at-risk youth in order to make sure that we are servicing that youth. And then for our contractors, our contractors during COVID were actually reaching out to us because a lot of the private residential work completely stopped, whereas the public construction didn't. One of the things with contractors is that they're a little bit fearful of all the regulatory requirements it takes for public contracting. And this is where we come in to provide those resources, the coaching that's needed for them to actually go into public contracting. So we've had to pivot a little bit of our programs, but they've been, successful during COVID. We're still providing the services, and we rely a lot on our partnership as well as our other sectors, which includes our public sector as well as our residential sector.
Great, thanks, Wendy. We got a couple more coming in, which is great. So our next question is from Dan Kalb. He's asking, please describe the attempts and successes in working directly with local trade unions as well as with their apprenticeship programs. A question that I wrote down to ask anyway. So thank you, Dan. Anybody want to be brave enough to attempt that one? Jennifer, I saw some IBEW folks in your slides.
Sure. Just in general, our efforts are to include local contractor union members in all of our procurement work that we do, such as the Solar One. For our workforce education and training programs, we're working directly with Richmond Build as well as Rising Sun, who both are apprenticeship feeder programs into unions. So there's a direct connection there where somebody who graduates from any of their programs will not only know about electrification, home performance, and have an opportunity to be connected with local contractors, but they can also advance into an apprenticeship.
I can add that 3C Ren, while young, we fairly young, only about 2 years old in terms of our administration of programs, have been trying to solidify our relationships with our local union representation, including the pipe fitters and IBEW and others, to start including some of our curriculum and focus surrounding high performance buildings and the energy code as a part of their stuff. I think the challenge is that a lot of that curriculum for the existing unions is kind of set. So kind of the ask or the request is something that's adjacent. And Jennifer, I'm particularly interested in how in terms of like working with feeder programs to get, you know, that kind of ingrained into students early before they go into the unions, so that it's kind of there already. But that's a thought that I had pretty previously thought of. Wendy, Ian, any thoughts there?
You know, we work with the local unions as well for our contractors. And again, the misconception of becoming signatory to a union for contractors, the union fees. So we actually work with the local unions to come and provide training for our contractors and actually clear up those misconceptions, as well as also resources that we can provide in order to cover those union fees, so our contractors can become signatory. And this can apply to a variety of projects that, you know, either have a PLA attached to that project, where, you know, they need to get local workers from the union. So again, it's just making sure that the information is available. And then in terms of apprenticeship programs, it's always reaching our youth early with, you know, some of the organizations that offer the pre-apprenticeship training or even the MC3 curriculum that will align them to an actual apprenticeship pathway. So again, it's just making sure that they have access to that information. And within SoCal Ren, we actually have our resource guides that we have established that let you know, people know when these apprenticeships are open and what pre-apprenticeship programs are available in our SoCal Ren territory, as well as workforce resources.
Great.
And I'll just add that for MCE, when we were developing our workforce education and training program, we are definitely interested in funneling folks into apprenticeship programs as appropriate, but it's not the only path to a great career. So we try to emphasize that there are many paths and recruit contractors to provide jobs to job seekers that focus on the quality craftsmanship, that offer fair wages. And in fact, there's a qualifications list that our contractors must sign off on before taking on new staff.
Okay, great. And you kind of segued into our next question a little bit, Jennifer, from actually my good friend, Pam Bold. Hi, Pam. Are any of these programs working in conjunction with counties' workforce programs?
I think I can take that one, Jordan. Sure. Yes. So most of our programs are working with the LA County Workforce Development department. Some of the supportive services are offered through WEDAX is what the acronym is, for both our ACES students as well as our Green Path career students. And then even for our contractors, it's not specifically the workforce development department, but their small business and consumer affairs also provides technical assistance for our contractors. And again, it's leveraging the resources that are already in place instead of duplicating the efforts, because we're all trying to reach the same, communities and make sure that they thrive.
Ian, Jennifer, any thoughts about workforce development boards or? Yep.
I would say on the 3C Run front, we try to do a good job of cross promotion for events. I think there's a lot more development in our partnership. I would say it can be tough, or there's some gray area between each of the counties. I am more aware on what's going on in Ventura County as opposed to Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo. So trying to find a happy relationship where we can appease to each three counties could be a bit of a challenge.
For MCE, as I mentioned earlier, our board of directors is made up of municipalities. So it's pretty much embedded in all of the work that we do, that we have connections with our local municipalities. We also work regularly and very closely with Bayren, who represents the 9 counties in the Bay Area. So strong ties there, and through all of our efforts, we cross-pollinate outreach with Bayren to make sure that everybody in our territory knows about the opportunities. And then we're partnering with our implementers are well connected as well with the local communities. But in terms of like workforce development boards, we have initiated MOUs with several of the local workforce development boards and CBOs to recruit folks who are looking for work in this industry into our energy efficiency and electrification program.
Cool. Thank you. One more question from the chat, and then I encourage others to continue to ask. Let's see, from Ty Keith. He is asking, or she, is how can I get involved in connecting high school students, community colleges, and contractors? I want to do outreach here in Southern California. I think, Wendy, perhaps that one's specifically for you.
Yeah, so we already have our established curriculum within the community college district here in LA. But if you're trying to just, do it on your own, a lot of the community colleges actually have a different focus. Some are STEM based, some are more trade specific. It would just be a matter of what you're trying to do, because obviously high school students, might have a different interest than contractors. So it just depends. You can always reach out to me directly because we already have that established, both pathways for contractors as well as high school students, and then the partnership with the community college as well. And sometimes it's very difficult to kind of, navigate the politics of, the community college. But, we've done it quite successfully here for SoCal.
Great. Any more questions from the audience? I do have a couple that I would love to ask, but first a time check. How are we doing on time, Serena, Gabriella, John?
We're good. Let's answer or ask a few more questions.
Sounds good. So we've already touched on it a little bit. And yes, please continue to add questions to the chat function. but we've touched on partnerships a little bit with regard to unions, community colleges, and others. But I was wondering if each of you could touch on some other partnerships and how you are fostering those relationships, as well as you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of idea as it comes to kind of keeping those relationships flowing across your programs.
I can tackle that one because, we leverage a lot of partnerships, a lot of their resources. We don't want to duplicate our efforts.
Yep.
So it's either reaching out to the community college. We have specifically here for LA, the community college district has their own contractor training program that we work very closely with. Because again, we're reaching the same contractors. We want to make sure that, that the training they're taking has a viable outcome. So we work with those partnerships in order to develop either the training or enhance the training. A lot of the training that's available to contractors right now is not specifically focused on energy efficiency or green technology. So we want to make sure that our contractors are getting that information and that knowledge. So when we focus on our contractor program, working with any partner that works with contractors, we want to make sure that we enhance the training that they already have in place. The same with our high school students. The community college has great programs that a lot of students have not considered before. A lot of them are on a pathway to a four-year college, which is great. But they don't know what's available at the community college level while they're in high school. And then again, bringing in that industry's perspective to make sure that anyone that does go through the community college pathway will have a viable outcome as well in terms of a career pathway and what's actually relevant right now in the industry. So I think a lot of it is making sure that we're all working sometimes in silos, but those partnerships are something that we have to leverage and work together to either enhance or kind of tweak a little bit. But our partnerships here for LA have been very supportive. We're not trying to duplicate anything, and we all have the same goal.
And are any of you working with member organizations like HBA, like I should stop using acronyms, the Home Builders Association, KBEC, the California Association of Building Energy Consultants, CalCerts, that kind of thing?
We're working currently kind of indirectly on our workforce education and training program on partnerships where like the, oh gosh, I'm forgetting the acronym, PHCC, to get member contractors involved in our programs. Mm-hmm. And vet them and train them up so that they can be matched with our job seekers for sure.
Cool.
For SoCal Rent, we're not working directly with CalCerts, but we leverage our utility partners. So SoCal Gas, SoCal Edison. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of training collaborations with them. One of the big goals for them is to make sure that they're reaching the disadvantaged communities as well as the hard to reach, which includes our contractors. And so a lot of the training instructors that they have do come from CalCerts or for HERS. So just, again, it's leveraging those partnerships and then making sure that our contractors sometimes, again, that fear of working with a large utility, is a little bit scary for them, where they think that it's, sometimes not possible. But as long as we help them navigate through it, usually, we clear up again those misconceptions that they might have.
Yeah, and on the 3C Ren front, I would say, this, Jordan, but we have pretty strong partnerships with our local ICC and AIA chapters, which are extremely helpful in, getting people in the door for our training by providing CEUs. And I would say maybe a more recent partnership would be with KBEC, and trying to, hosting CEA prep work and CEA exams in the fall.
Yeah, and we're certainly coordinating with Passive House as well, North American Passive House Network, which has been a great partnership to provide those certifications to interested contractors and designers too. So that's been a beneficial partnership that we've certainly been looking at or using lately too. Let's see here. Oh, good. Ty was asking for your email, Wendy, and Serena gave it to them in the chat.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of spread out a little bit here, and maybe we can talk about the elephant in the room. And we kind of touched on it a little bit, but with COVID, I'm wondering how that has changed how we use. It certainly has used how we used our buildings in every sector. But are you all tailoring your workforce programs to respond to new trends?
Yeah, well, for us, I'll start real briefly. The training that we do for our contractors has moved from in person to all online. We're using a lot more video technology to do these, quote unquote, ride-alongs, as well as our educational partners at Richmond Build specifically. They're tailoring their curriculum, or not their curriculum, but the place that they're doing this in-person training to meet with the need of that's demanded by COVID. As far as the outcomes, we're hoping that there'll be kind of a hybrid approach that graduates from our programs can take, where they can thrive in any scenario, whether or not it's doing things in person or providing education to customers and to contractors online. I'll let others talk.
Yeah, on the training front for 3C Ren, I would say it's kind of, it's a blessing and a curse just being restricted to virtual, but it's been kind of nice being, spread thinly among 3 different counties to have everyone being able to be in the same room and, creating that networking opportunity from Ventura to San Luis Obispo that otherwise wouldn't be available. So definitely trying to take advantage of that, and agreed, I think moving forward, we'll definitely be taking a hybrid approach and still recording live trainings, to people's comfort level or accessibility wise.
I think for us, it's the same. And we've seen it be successful with our contractors because they are, all over the SoCal area. And because, they're working throughout the day. It used to be difficult for them to travel from, one place to the, downtown LA. And so we've seen an uprise in attendance when it comes to the virtual portion, but then it becomes very difficult because they don't get that hands-on experience that they would actually get when they were in person. And we're also, trying to see if maybe like the hybrid approach when it comes to like our general training would be online, but then obviously the hands-on has to be in person. And then for our high school students, it's, for our youth, it's a little bit more difficult because, it's very challenging for them. Because they're not getting that, face-to-face interaction that they used to get. And for some students, it works well, but for others, it doesn't. But for our youth programs, especially for our high schools, we follow the guidelines that the district has in place. So for this fall, we're making the transition to in-person, but again, making sure that we keep the whatever guidelines and regulations that the district has in place, we actually follow those.
I am getting the signal to wrap things up. Thank you to all of our panel members for participating today and for all of your amazing work. If you have any additional direct questions or needs, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I believe our contact information is all available to everyone. Thank you to LGSEC, Serena, Gabriella, and John for thoughtfully curating and corralling everyone for all of these sessions. They've been really great so far. And lastly, thank you to all of you attending today. Hopefully some of these programs and ideas have sparked some inspiration for you all. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jordan. And thank you to the rest of our speakers as well for that truly just awesome, really engaging, really insightful presentation. I do want to give one more shout out to our sponsors, not only the sponsors that we heard from today, but everyone who put in so much work to make this forum possible. Thank you so much to 3C-REN, BayREN, SoCalREN, Terra Verde Energy, the Energy Coalition, as well as TRC companies. All right, and just a couple reminders. We are about to enter our third and final week of events. So I do hope that we can see everyone join us for those events starting this coming Tuesday. Lastly, if you could please provide your feedback to this session through the survey link that, if it is not in the chat already, it will be dropped momentarily. If you take the survey, you do have the option to be entered for a chance to win a $50 gift card. So please do take the time to fill that out. All right, and thank you everyone for joining us today, and hope to see you next week. You have a great rest of your day.